It's not so dangerous, really, at least according to the New York Times. It's just published a study from the New America Foundation claiming 48 recent deaths, including the Charleston massacre, are linked to right-wing extremists, while only 26 deaths are linked to Muslim extremists. And they call the report nonpartisan. Joining us now to break it down, Kevin Jackson, the executive editor of the Black Sphere and author of The Big Black Lie, and retired Las Vegas Police Lieutenant Randy Sutton is the author of A Cop's Life and national spokesperson for the American Council on Public Safety. All right, let's start with you. Kevin. Do you have a problem with this study?
Oh, it was the biggest hack job I've ever seen, Brian. First of all, let's define what is considered right-wing or left-wing, terrorism or extremism. And in the case of, for example, Dylann Roof, they've just thrown him over into the right because he passed by a right-wing building or something. I don't know how they define that. Dylann Roof is a product of the left wing. He's a product of their education system, and firmly, as much as they want to blame it on the right, as far as I'm concerned, you can look at everything that he's done, and it absolutely adds up to leftism. So,
gotcha.
And then if you look at the report, there's nothing on that report that says left-wing extremists. There's right-wing extremists, and then there's non-jihadists or something like that. They don't even reference it.
Randy, it's interesting. The FBI and Homeland Security have a dual terror alert saying, look out for July 4th because ISIS is determined to hit us here, and they've been radicalized via the internet. But we were really looking at the wrong people, according to this study.
Well, what you saw there is called statistical fiction, where you want to manipulate the numbers because you have your own agenda. I mean, this is very similar to the United States government calling the Fort Hood massacre workplace violence. I bet they didn't even put those numbers of those people, 13 people killed in one single incident, which was, of course, Muslim extremism.
The other thing I think is interesting is they're just counting deaths. While every death is terrible, maybe the truth is in who's been arrested and who's been charged. Check this out. Since 9/11, 289 individuals are charged with jihad terrorism here in the U.S., 183 non-jihadists. That's a difference. And I bring it to what Peter King said yesterday. You know, every death is terrible, but to compare these deranged white supremacists with an organized international terrorist group, that's New York Times at its worst. Do you buy that, Kevin?
The fact is if you look, the way this report is written, to the point of the other guest, it is completely skewed. It omits a lot of the crime that we probably would declare as domestic terrorism or terrorism of some sort. And I mean, in every single way, this report has zero credibility. So, we could parse this thing all day long, but it is exactly what he mentioned before. It's statistical, manipulation more than anything.
Randy, why would they write it then?
Because there's clearly some political agenda going on. Something very interesting, they say they're nonpartisan, of course, but you know who is one of the board of directors? It's the son of George Soros, who I'm thinking has a little bit of a political agenda going on.
I'm sure they don't really talk about anything except for Thanksgiving. It might get a little controversial. Kevin Jackson, I appreciate it. Randy Sutton, great to have you.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, 18 minutes now. Take care.